Have you ever heard of some sort of version that goes like, I feel like I'm grieving someone who's still alive? I know I have. And every time I hear it, I feel it because that's one of the realest, most painful part of growth that you're never prepared for. You start doing the work, setting boundaries, choosing yourself, and then you look around and realize some people didn't make the trip with you. That's what I want to talk about today because this is real and it's very heavy. I think we need to normalize it so you stop feeling like something's wrong with you when it happens. Here's what I've learned, and I'm still learning this. Honesty and growth has a cost. And sometimes that cost is relationships you thought would last forever. Not because those people are bad people, not because you're better than they were now, but because who you are becoming doesn't fit the dynamic anymore. Let me explain what I meant by that. All of us have broken relationships when we were a certain version of ourselves. Maybe you were the people pleaser, fixer, the one who never said no, the person who kept the peace, even when it cost yours, the one who showed up for everybody else but never asked for anything in return. And the people around you got very comfortable with that version of you. The relationship was built out of that specific dynamic. So when you start to shift and grow, you start saying, I can't do this or that. I need more from you or else. This doesn't work for them anymore. It disrupts the system. And here's where my clinical brain wants to jump in just for a second. There's a concept in psychology called homeostasis. It basically means that systems, including relationship systems, want to stay kind of balanced. They resist change. Even when the change is healthy, the system pushes back because it wants things to, you got it right, stay the same. So when you start growing, don't be surprised if people around you start acting different. They might guilt you, question you, make little sly comments, like you change or I missed you. They might get distant or cold, and you can't quite figure out why. That's homeostasis. That system trying to pull you back to who you were or everything that could feel to them, in quotations, very normal again. And here's what I need for you to understand that response is about them, never about you. Your growth is exposing something. Maybe it's exposing that relationship was one-sided. Maybe it's exposing that they're not ready to do their own kind of work. Maybe it's exposing that they like you better when you were way smaller. I don't know. But whatever it is, the evolution is bringing it back to the surface. And not everyone's going to handle that very well. Now, this is a part that's going to be hard to sit with. Some of those relationships are not ever going to survive. And I know that hurts. I know it does. I've talked to so many women who are carrying that specific grief. The friendship has faded. The family members who got distant, the person that they thought would be there forever, who just isn't anymore. And the hardest part is there are often no big blow-ups. Dramatic endings, it just slowly fizzles out and you don't even really recognize it. That's loss. And you're allowed to grieve it. You're grieving the relationship you thought you had, the future you imagined that a person would be in. the version you hope they will become of it. You're grieving what could have simply been. And that grief is valid. It really is. Even if you still technically in your life, even if you could pick up the phone and call them right now, the closeness is kind of gone. And the safety is gone too. The thing you thought you had, let's call mourning. Yeah, let's call mourning. Wow. So if you've been feeling that, if you've been carrying that weight and wondering why it hurts so much, this is why. It's grief. And grief doesn't need a funeral to be real. But here's what I also want you to hear. It's because it hurt doesn't mean you're doing something absolutely wrong. We've been conditioned to think that if something is painful, you must be off track. But growth is uncomfortable. Change is uncomfortable. And not everyone is equipped to hold the version of you that's emerging. That's not your fault. And it's not your job to shrink or small yourself so other people could adjust to it. Now, I don't want you to hear that and just start cutting everybody off. That's not the message at all. Some issues are worth fighting for. Some people just need to catch up to the new you. So let me give you something to consider when you're trying to figure out what to do. So, firstly, when accept is this person willing to grow with you, or are they committed to keeping you the same? There's a difference between someone struggling to adjust and someone who's actually trying to pull you up. The first one might be uncomfortable, even you could be confused, maybe grieving the old dynamics of themselves, but they're open to it. They're trying. But the second one, isn't interested in your growth at all. They want you to go back to who you were because that version was very much more convenient for them. Pay attention to the latter of that. Another one we could talk about as well is let's see. How do you feel after spending time with this person? This is a really big one. Do you feel seen, supported, encouraged? Or do you feel like you have to, like I said, shrink, smaller yourself, explain yourself, even sometimes defend your choices to justify your growth? Hmm. Your body knows, your energy knows as well. I always say that if you leave every interaction feeling drained and diminished, then it speaks for itself. That's the information that you need. Another one I could say, wow, if you meet this person today with no history, no obligation, would you still choose them? Not based off of who they used to be, but based off of what you've been through together, but based off of who they are now. And who are they right now? Would you build something with them? If the answer is no, it's clarity, not cruelty, but honest. Now, you know I'm all about my legacy pieces. You know I'm all about my 4 pillars and how things shift from attitude to legacy. So now here is my little legacy. I was going to just add it in. When you what you tolerate and what you accept, what you allow, that's what you're modeling. Think of your kids, if you have them. People watching, you or for yourself. If you keep shrinking to make other people comfortable, what are you teaching the next generation? That your growth doesn't matter as much as everyone else feeling. That's it. That's it. If you stay small, people, you will lose people. You lose yourself. Let's talk about that. And that's not legacy. The legacy is I love myself enough to keep becoming, even when it's hard, even when it costs me. And here's the last thing I want to say on this. Sum this up. You can release people with love. Absolutely. You can release people with love. Letting go doesn't have to be an explosion. It doesn't have to be a confrontation or a dramatic ending. Sometimes it's just a slow, quiet, soft release, a reception or recognition that the relationship has run its course. It isn't to stop forcing something that doesn't fit anymore. You could honor the relationship without forcing it to be something it can't be now. You can love someone and still let them go. You can be grateful for that very reason you had and still choose to carry them in the next one. Releasing someone doesn't mean you hate them at all. It doesn't mean that it shit didn't matter. It just means you're not supposed to go where they're going. And that's okay. That's really allowed. So, if you can, I want you to reflect on this today. Is there a relationship in your life that's asking you to shrink, to go back, to be the old version of yourself? And if so, what would it look like to honor your growth anyway? Even if it changes things, even if it costs you. Because the person you're becoming is so worth it. And I'm saying that also to ask you, is she worth it? Hmm. Is she worth the discomfort? Is she worth the hard conversations? Is she worth the grief? And the people who are meant to grow with you, they'll find a way. They'll rise to meet you. Or new people will come in who will raise you who you are and who you're becoming, not who you used to be. You're not losing people. You're making room. Sit with that. This is an Empowerment Click vibe check.